I want to welcome y'all to another episode of Dream Life Theory. I'm your host, Mr. Billions. I had a promise before I was going to talk about what happens when we think. So, in order to assist me with the information, because I want y'all to know it's coming from a reliable source, and then I'm going to expand on it. But so I went to Google. That's what we're going to be using, Google. We're going to be using a lot of Google information. Google got Google AI. So it's going to be AI based. And the reason being is because when you experience it, it's something that can't be taught in books. I know it's a lot of people that went, and I went to school too. So I'm not knocking nobody for school. But even when y'all know yourself that the information was good to get you started, to get jumping. But once the stuff started acting out, it was all about you. It was all about your resilience. So before I get off of key, what happens when we think? Actually, what is thought? So I I asked Google two different ways, and it brought it back two different. So I asked what are thoughts made of, and the AI, Google AI said thoughts, emotions, and atoms. You got, if I could turn it around. Well, I thought I could turn it around. Instead, they arise from the interactions and patterns of atoms, specifically within the brain's neural networks. These interactions involve the movement of ions, which is charged atoms like sodium, potassium, and calcium, across neuron membranes, creating electrical impulse. So I asked right there, what are thoughts made of? And so it's talking about the atoms. And then from the atoms forming the neural networks and the movements, the ions with charged atoms like sodium, potassium across neurons and membranes, creating electrical impulses. So I thought is made up of electromagnetism and water. The brain itself uses so much energy, the brain uses more energy than any organ in the body, And a guy was saying that he said we don't hear with our ears. I was like, what? He said we hear with our brain. He said everything we do, we hear with our brain, the senses. So then I said, what is thought made up of on Google? And Google AI said thoughts are physical and are made of electrical signals and chemical messengers within the brain. These signals generated by the firing of neurons form complex patterns that represent thought influenced by both external stimuli and internal factors like memory and emotion. And it breaks down the neuron firing, So it's saying the brain fundamental units, neurons, communicate with each other through electrical and chemical signals. When a neuron fires, it creates electrical impulse that travels along and connects with other neurons. So that fires. So the reason why I'm saying this, and I want to get you familiar with what happens when you think, because thought is one of the main culprits is the main culprit of what we do, our actions. So I would like for us to understand what happens when we're thinking. That way, when things are happen, I want you to physically visualize the thought. I need what I will do when that'll be one of my next projects that I work on. I will get like graphics and different, get something to graphics. That way I have my camera, you can see me on the side or whatever, and then you can see the graphics, what's going on. That'll be a good thing. But I want us to visualize how we think, because thought is the reason why we do our things. And it's also important because once you learn what happened when you think, and when you're thinking and the thing doesn't go right, or you're doing something that's not good, not whether illegal, something that your girlfriend don't like, something that you know you should be giving up, but you're still doing it, you understand, you think that thought, you trace it, you see what's going on with it. So when we talk about the thoughts, there's different type of thoughts: happy, sad, the emotions, the different hormones that is connected with the neurotransmitters that causes physical responses. So they said thoughts. So it said thoughts are physical, and so neurotransmitters are signals. These signals are transmitted between neurons via chemicals called a neurotransmitters. Yeah, I know y'all gonna laugh at that. But these chemicals act as messengers, relaying information from one neuron to the next. Now, this is what I want us to see how powerful this is. This information that is so carried, so small, is the information, is the thoughts, the words, the ideas. These things are carried so small and they're shot across so fast inside of your mind. These are thoughts. They say these are complex patterns. See, I'm gonna probably talk to Google because I'm not trying to steal their information. I'm saying this is Google. I'm giving y'all, this is, and I'm building off of what they're saying, because this is very important to understand how we're thinking. So it said it's complex patterns. This is the next thing it's saying. Thoughts are not single neuron firing, but rather complex patterns of activity across many neurons. These patterns are influenced by various factors, the sensory input, our memories and things like that. But they said it's physical base. Come on. While thoughts feel subjective, they have a physical base in the brain's electrical and chemical activity. This activity can be observed and studied using an EEG and brain imaging techniques. So you can study these, you can see these brain's electrical things firing. When we get in the situation, we say, I want to work out, or New Year's resolution, I'm a I'm gonna stop messing with that crazy ass, girl, because she's no good. Then I'm gonna work out, get rid of the stomach, get right, start going to church, start going to mosque. So you're firing your thoughts. It is said that your subconscious doesn't know whether it's real life or whether you thinking. It has to accept what you're saying, right? So with that being said, when you think the thought, the first time you thought it, right? I'm gonna do this, your brain was like, okay, let's get into motion. So now this is what we're here for. We're here to evolve. And I talked about evolution is is mental. It's mental first. You have to evolve mental to evolve physical. Like you have to get in the mindset to do what you need to do in order to, become. This is what it's all about. And these complex patterns. It's a lot of these complex patterns